Welcome to the Katherine Cook Show. I'm a leadership development coach and I love helping people go further. So what do you do when you're in a fight or flight situation? I'm going to tell you a story I don't often talk about. When I was in my 20s, I dated a man who wasn't a very nice person. He was mean to me, he was cheating on me, he even took me to a restaurant one day just to tell me that he never loved me and never would. And I took it. I kept internalizing it. I got to the point where my friends and family didn't want to hear it anymore because they love me, so it made their heart hurt to hear about it. Until one day I had moved away and he was coming to visit me after what I was pretty sure after cheating on me with someone, and I had it. I'd had enough. I snapped. I let him have it. I went full force and I was just done. It was time for me to stop running and time for me to start fighting. So what about you? Today I have with me a guest who is no stranger to fight or flight. Whenever he's been backed in the corner, he has come out swinging. As a matter of fact, he decided to make a professional career out of it. So please welcome Bob Mancini, celebrity boxer.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, how are you? Thanks for having me.
No problem, thanks for coming. So where are you from?
I'm from West Springfield, Massachusetts.
Okay, now you did live in Rhode Island at one point, right?
Yeah, originally from Cumberland, Rhode Island.
Okay.
So I lived in Cumberland, Rhode Island.
And now you're in West Springfield.
Now I'm in West Springfield, a couple hours away from here.
Okay, nice. So you are a celebrity boxer. Can you tell me a little bit about what is celebrity boxing for those of us that aren't as familiar?
Well, celebrity boxing is where you get an opportunity to fight celebrities. I went to a show probably about 7 years ago. They had a show in Springfield, Mass, where Jose Canseco was on the show.
Okay.
Played for the Yankees, played for the Red Sox. So he was fighting a kid named Todd Poland. So I went to the show to check it out. I ended up meeting the producer of the show and started talking to him, and then he asked me if I had any boxing experience. I said yes, I did. So would you like to be on one of the cards? So I said, yeah, sure, absolutely. I said, but the problem is I'm 40 years old. I go, I don't want to come out of retirement at 40, after spending so many years in the ring when I was a kid. So
right. Okay, so speaking of starting as a kid, what made you start this?
Oh, I'll tell you, when I was a kid, I started boxing at the age of 7. At the bus stop, this kid kept taking my money. Some kid just kept asking me for lunch money, so I would give it to him because I was nervous, I was scared. I came home one day, and I said, Dad, I'm hungry. And he says, what do you mean you're hungry? I give you $1 every day. I said, this kid keeps taking it. He says, oh, no, no, no. He says, I'm going to go down the bus stop. I said, no, 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 please don't. Dad, please don't. No. The kid's 7, He said, I'm going to go say something. He said, you know what, better yet, he said, why don't you go down the street and take some boxing classes? And I go, what is boxing? I'm 7 years old. I don't know what boxing is. So I went down the street. I took some boxing classes. I started training for it. So all of a sudden, one of the guy's trainers' name was Rocky. And it was kind of
Balboa.
No, I wish. It was kind of weird. His name was actually Rocky.
Okay.
So then he said to me, you want to fight, kid? And I'm like, okay, sure. I trained for a couple weeks. The night of the fight, I show up. The kid was not there yet. So I kept looking at my coach. Who is he? Who is he? He says, I don't know. He'll be here. He'll be here. So all of a sudden, the door opens up, and he comes through this door. And it's the kid that took my lunch money.
Oh, no way.
Oh, I'm kicking, crying, screaming, please, please don't get me in this ring. They actually had to drag me into the ring to fight this kid. So I'm like, oh my God, here we go, right? I ended up stopping the kid with the left hook to the nose. I busted his nose at age 7. The ref jumped in. Ref jumped in, stopped it. I threw 4 more punches.
Okay.
So that was the start of my boxing career. I didn't want to box because I had a father that boxed, or brothers and stuff that boxed. I boxed because I was picked on and bullied as a kid. Back then, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, it wasn't, it was just being a kid, picking on someone. Now, so that started my boxing career.
Getting picked on,
Getting
having
picked
somebody
on.
take your lunch money,
Take
and
my
you
lunch
say,
money.
I'm done with this.
I'm done.
And beat the crap out of him.
I got him. I got him
Nice.
good, you know, and then I fell in love with the sport.
And I bet you
absolutely-
he didn't take anybody else's lunch money.
No, the next day I went to the bus stop, he gave me my $1 back.
Did he?
Yeah.
Okay, very
Yeah.
nice.
So it was a proud moment. It was a shame that I had to box him. I hit him with a good shot, and just happened to bust his nose and at 7, and that was it.
Hey, some people have their own brick wall they need to hit.
Yeah.
As long as he stopped taking kids' lunch money.
Yeah, absolutely.
So then I heard that you used to live with your father. How did that come to happen?
As I got older, I ended up living with my dad and stuff. My dad worked on the railroad, so we lived in Providence, so we got transferred from Providence to Springfield. So that's how we ended up in the Mass area.
Okay, that makes sense.
So, and then we ended up living with him.
Okay, nice.
So,
And then you told me that when living with your dad, you ended up in a detention center?
yeah, it's a crazy story because my dad ended up getting sick, and my dad gets sick, so I'm like, I'm quitting school. That's it. I'm quitting school. And so in the state of Massachusetts, you cannot quit school until you are 16 years old. I think now they bumped it up to 18. So I said, nope, I'm quitting school. He's in the hospital. I want to take care of him. I want to go to work. I was making $600 a week 30 years ago.
Doing what?
Drywall. I was doing drywall.
Wow.
I was scrapping houses, hanging drywall. I was making $15 an hour 30 years ago. So I'm like, this money's great. My father didn't know that I wasn't in school until one day a knock on the door, and the truant officers come in and said, your son hasn't been in school in 3 weeks. And he goes, no, sir, I drop him off. He'd drop me off the front door, I'd go out the back door. So, and then I would, sometimes I'd beat him actually home. He'd go for a coffee
Nice.
and I would beat him home. So, I ended up leaving school, so because I was only 15 years old, the police got involved and truant officers, and you had to go to court, and the judge said, hey, listen, if you can't go to school, you're going to the detention center. All right, fine, let's go, So they locked me up.
At 15?
At 15.
For not going to school?
Because it's a law. Because it's a
Okay.
law,
All right.
for not. And I told him my story, and the judge just didn't want to hear it. So, as being a nice young 15-year-old boy, I had a couple choice words for the judge.
Smart mouth 15-year-old, yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then, what happened is they locked me up. So I go to the detention center, and first night I was there, they check you in. Next morning, they said, okay, we got to do some schoolwork. I go, wait a minute, I'm here because I don't want to go to school. Oh, no. So the detention center had a fence around it, 15-foot high, 6 or 7 Dobermans. I said, I'm getting out of here. They said, if you can get by them dogs, them Dobermans that were outside, good luck. I'm like, all right. So I kind of put my sneakers on. They're like, you're not going to leave. You're not going to try it. So they turned it back one day. I kicked the door open and ran, and all of a sudden these Dobermans are flying after me. I mean, I just hit the fence, and I must have been like Spider-Man, and jumped over it and got out. And I was like, I'm going, so. And then
So you busted out of the detention
I busted out. First person ever.
Not quite Shawshank Redemption style, but
Nah.
still you just busted out of
I
there.
busted out.
Wow, so then what happens after that?
Oh,
After you bust
I
out of a
walked
detention center?
9 hours and hitchhike for 9 hours to get home.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sure they don't say if you can just get through by the Dobermans anymore.
Right. Well, I mean, there was probably cops looking for me and stuff like that.
Yeah, probably.
So, but, it was all because I wanted to take care of my dad. That's all it was.
Yeah.
And me being Italian, we were a very close family. So I was like, I really want to help out. It's laying in a hospital bed, had 2 strokes, you can only eat macaroni and cheese for so long. So I said, I'm not doing this. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
and that's what I did. And I started doing drywall. So.
All right.
But then the judge, because I had a couple choice words when I went back to court, then he banned me from the state of Massachusetts because my aunt came up that was from Rhode Island. My aunt came up and said, I'll take custody of him. He'll go to school down in Rhode Island. And I'm like, wink, wink. You know, I'm like, thank God.
Wait, you got banned from the state of Massachusetts?
Yes.
As in, you cannot step foot in the state of Massachusetts?
Until you're 18. Until you're legal as an adult, 18. Yeah, I got banned.
Wow, so no Patriots games for you?
No Patriots game, no Red Sox games. So I had to come watch the Pawtucket Red Sox because they were in Rhode Island.
Okay.
So it worked.
All right, and now you live in West Springfield, Massachusetts, and you were city councilman in Springfield.
Yeah, I spent 3 terms on the city council in West Springfield. Great experience. I ran against a gentleman named Mike Finn for District 3, which is now the state rep for West Springfield area.
Okay.
I ran against him. I lost my first time running. I spent, I can't even imagine, like $300 or something like that. So I lost. So next time it came around, a couple of my friends were like, hey, listen, why don't you just run real quick at large in the whole town? So I says, all right, I'll throw my name back in again. So I throw my name back in and bang, I won it. I was standing there the night of the election. I looked at Diane Foley, that was a town clerk, and I said, you know, how'd I do? She says, well, all the results ain't in, so just give me an hour. It could be like 1 hour, it could be 5 hours. You know, this could go to 5 o'clock in the morning until we tally them all up.
Right.
I sat in the seat and I said, I ain't going nowhere. I ain't going nowhere. I says, I'll wait. Hour later, she came out and said, hey, congratulations, you won it. There was a news reporter there. Says, oh, congratulations, you won it. I go, okay, now what do I do? You know, so.
So how do you go from banned from the state of Massachusetts to being a city councilman in the state of Massachusetts?
You know what? Determination. I was determined to do something. You know, I've been a former coach for 30 years. I've coached different sports. So I wanted to give back. I wanted to give back to my community. I wanted to control a $72 million budget that, in my eyes, was, you know, spending. They would spend and spend and spend. You know, so that was my goal, is to lower the budget, you know.
Did you?
Yeah, we did.
Good.
We did 1 year.
Okay.
We did 1 year.
Okay.
You know, it took a lot of hard work. Everybody that sat up there with me, you know, it was hard. It was a battle because, you know, everybody wants something. Everybody needs something in the town.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And then, you know, you have people, before the year ends, they would turn it back into the town. So I'm like, wait a minute, what are you doing? You're over appropriating money, taxpayers' money. You know? So that's what kind of got me to run.
Okay. And I know that you also said that you coach, and I know you do a lot with children's charities. Can you tell me a little bit about your work with children's charities and how you got into it?
Well, I started coaching baseball, softball, soccer, all them kind of sports. What I do is, there was a little boy that beat cancer, had cancer, beat cancer. I said, you want to walk me to the boxing ring? And he's like, oh yeah, absolutely. So in one of my videos out there on YouTube, you see him, he's one of the boys.
It'll be on my Facebook page. So
he has a blue sweatshirt. He has a blue sweatshirt waving his arms up. Jonathan Blau, good friend of mine, great kid. He had a rare form of cancer. Knock on wood, he beat it so far.
Good for him.
You know, yeah. And that's what we do. You put a smile on these kids' faces. You know, I mean, I could fight another day. God forbid, this kid or any kid that has an illness or anything like that, they might not be able to fight, you know? So that was a big thing, you know? So when I was 40 years old, I came out of retirement to do my first celebrity boxing match. It hit the paper. You know, after 24 years, why are you getting back into the ring? You know, the title was good. They threw a belt on it, so I says, absolutely gonna do it, you know? I was at a town council meeting, and I was supposed to fight Lindsay Lohan's dad, Michael Lohan.
Nice.
So I had a contract signed, ready to go with him, and I had to take a tune-up fight first. So that was when I came out at 40 years old, so I took a tune-up fight. I said, hey, pick anybody. Well, the guy I picked, he was 6'7", 280 pounds. I'm 5'9", 215 on a good hair day. You know?
Okay.
So he was a
Okay.
big guy, tall guy. So 3 weeks prior to the fight, I was sparring at Old School Boxing in Agawam, Jose Ortiz. He ends up cracking my rib 3 weeks before the fight. So I'm like, oh no.
The fight with Lindsay Lohan's dad.
The tune-up,
before the tune-up.
Right, before the tune-up.
Oh, no.
So I go to the doctors, I said, I got a bad pain in my side. Let's take an x-ray. Oh, you got a cracked rib. They said, oh, you got a cracked rib. I said, oh, what's that mean? I have a fight in 3 weeks. And they said, sorry, son, you can't fight. So he's giving me a doctor's note. I go, we're not in school. What is this? You know, this doctor's note. He's like, you need it for work or something? I said, no. I said, but doc, I ripped it up, threw it in the trash. You don't understand what kind of man I am. I sold 350 tickets. I said, I'm fighting this guy, and I threw it in the trash and walked out of the doctor's office.
You fought with a
cracked rib, a 40 years old cracked rib. Yep,
Wow.
yep. Which we tried not to leak out, and I think they ended up leaking out to his camp because, you know, they hit you in the body with a cracked rib. The pain is so unbearable, it's not even funny. So I fought with a cracked rib, so I had to dance around and stay away from him and do as much as I could to win. You know, but I was nervous. There was a little bit of ring rust, and the guy he landed the first shot.
Okay.
My head went back like a bobble doll. My trainer goes, oh my God, he's gonna get killed, meaning me. So I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I'm fine. I come back to the corner, he goes, you're right. He goes, you're gonna fight this kid. I said, Chris, I said, I can't move. My ribs hurt me that much. He's like, I don't care, just fight him, just fight him. So I ended up winning the decision.
All right.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So that was it. I win a decision. Come to Lohan. He worked the corner of my opponent. He knew I had a cracked rib. Michael Lohan worked the guy's corner that I was fighting. So he's seen it. And then after the fight, clearly on tape, he says, I'll fight him, I'll fight him. I go back to the gym. Now I'm healthy. I decide to take another tune-up. I'm healthy, I'm strong, I'm feeling good. I fight this other kid. 20 seconds, the first round, I knocked this kid out. I hit him with a body shot, boom, over. And then he said, fight's off, I'm not fighting him. I'm like, oh, his daughter's worth millions. Lindsay Lohan's worth millions, actress, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just so, and I'm like, oh man, then he backed out.
So who is the most famous person you have fought?
You know what? The most famous person I fought was Chris Envy. He was on Wife Swap.
Okay.
You ever see the show Wife Swap? He was on Wife Swap.
I saw the Dave Chappelle version of Wife
Yeah.
Swap, but I don't think it's even close.
No, Chris Envy was the toughest. I mean,
Okay.
he, as being a pro wrestler, he
Now,
does.
who was he in Wife Swap? Is he a host or was he one of the
No,
guests?
he was one of the contestants on it. What
Okay.
happened is he would leave and go live with another wife, another family, and the guy's husband would live with his or something like that, and they
Okay,
would
so
have
they just
chores.
swap.
They swap, yeah, they
Okay.
swap. But it was Chris Envy. Him being a pro wrestler, he does that wrestling stuff.
Oh, okay.
Is in a lot of shape. So we sold a ton of tickets for the fight, and I hit him with a left hook, and I thought he took a knee. Same thing. Chris is famous. He had the flu when he fought me. You know what I mean? So I hit him with a left hook, and the kid goes back, and he goes, "Come on!" And I'm like, the last guy I just hit with a left hook, I just sent him to the canvas. So he goes, "Come on!" So I go, and on the video you clearly see me. I must have threw 50 punches at him. Just kid kept coming, and he wouldn't stop. I'm like, I get back to my corner. I go, I hit this kid with everything. I'm like, I'm gonna pass out. I need oxygen. You know.
Yeah.
I'm 44 years old at the time now. You know, at the
And
time.
how old was he?
He was younger. He was younger.
20s, 30s?
Nah, maybe 30.
Okay.
You know, the story behind Chris is he actually has 2 wives. I don't know how he got away with that.
Okay.
But he has 2 wives. You can Google him, Chris Envy. He's got 2 wives, a 23-year-old wife, and maybe a lady in her 30s, I think.
All right.
5 kids, I think, 6 kids. Just had another kid. But, yeah, he's
I
just...
think that's legal.
In New York it is. He's from New York.
Okay,
I think.
okay.
I think. I
Okay.
don't know if it's legal or not.
Not my choice, but
God,
as
God
long
bless
as they're
him.
happy.
Yeah, hey. But he was the toughest. I mean, without a doubt, he was the toughest guy. I mean, I hit him. I hit him hard. In the first round, I was moving around and trying to get him to get close enough so I can hit him. He was staying away. And then when he did get close enough, I just hit him. But this kid could have went 10, 12 more rounds. This kid is a strong kid.
Okay.
You know.
All right, nice. So what makes you keep going?
You know, my heart and my drive and my commitment to the sport of boxing. If I had the heart I do now when I was, God, younger, I would have fought 180, 200 fights. You know, it just, I've been around the sport for 40 years. You know, I can't get out of it. I go to old school boxing, Nago on my train. I go to elite boxing when I'm down here in North Attleboro. I train near, you know, at my friend's gym. So it's, as a fighter, it's just something you can't give up.
Okay.
You know?
So what's the hardest fight you've ever had?
Hardest fight I ever had was not in the ring. You can
Okay.
always train. You can train for fighting in the ring. You can train for opponent. The hardest fight I ever had was burying my niece at 23 years old, my brother, and my best friend. My best friend was driving down the street, massive heart attack at 27 years old,
Oh my gosh.
passed away a month before my wedding.
Oh my gosh.
My brother, I lost my brother to leukemia at 50 years old. My niece, I lost her a couple of years ago. She was 23 years old, mixed 2 prescriptions by mistake, accidental death, passed away at 23 years old. That was hard.
Yeah.
You can recover from any fight. You can't recover from what life's going to throw at you, what kind of curveballs. You can't train for that.
Yeah.
Nobody expects to lose their niece or my sister losing her daughter. You know, it just, and it's just her oldest daughter and 23 years old. So that was my toughest fight. That absolutely my toughest fight. You know, I get a little emotional when I talk about it because it's tough. It's a kid.
Yeah.
You know, I'll go in the ring 100 times, 200 times. It's not going to be as tough as that, you know. And you can't, you know, time heals, but it's still, it's hard. It's, you know. So which I get a couple friends about my movie that are playing. My niece that passed away, they're playing her, you know, one girl, Allie Marshall.
I was actually about to ask you
Yeah.
about, I heard you have a movie coming out.
Yeah, I
So
gotta-
tell me about that. What's the name of the movie?
The movie's called Against the Ropes.
Okay.
As you can see, it's Against the Ropes. It's about a little boy's life struggle, obstacles, stuff like that, from as a young kid to now.
Like a 7-year-old kid who has
Like a
somebody taking away their lunch
7-year-old,
money?
yeah, 7-year-old little
And
kid.
knocks 'em out?
And knocks him out. Stops
Okay.
him. So, and going through life and dealing with life's, you know, what do you say, curveballs? I call them curveballs. Life throws everybody a curveball.
They do. It
You
does.
know, you can either stand there and watch it go by or swing at it, you know. So Against the Ropes, I have some great people starring in it. Ann Flynn Dixon out of Boston. She's going to play my mother.
Okay.
She's a great actress. I've seen her. I met her actually in Boston at Wahlburgers.
Oh, yeah.
So I met
Yeah.
her through a friend of ours. And so she's on board. So she wanted to, you know, have a role in it. So I said, you know what, perfect, my mother. So she's going to play my mother.
Okay.
Ellie Marshall, she's going to play my niece, which she's phenomenal. Keith Coslin's going to play myself. I told him he has to lose some weight. You know, he's an ex-pro fighter, good friend of mine. Keith Coslin's going to play me. My son is going to play me as a young 7, 8-year-old.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he's 10,
That's nice.
but he's going to play me.
Okay.
So it's going to be phenomenal movie.
And when is it coming out?
We're going to start filming probably in a couple months. We're going to still do another casting call because we got to fill some spots, and then we're going to start filming, like I said, probably 2-3 months, and then it'll be coming out next year.
Okay. It's a feature film?
I hope.
Okay.
I hope.
Okay.
You know.
Nice.
So.
All right, and speaking of relatives, I heard you're related to Vinny Paz, is that correct?
Yeah, Vinny Pazienza. Another one making a movie on his life called Bleed for This.
Okay.
Chad Verdi, Martin Scorsese.
I have heard of Martin Scorsese, just a little bit, yeah.
So, yeah, I'm cousins with Vinny Pazienza, 5-time world champion boxing. The guy that's playing him is Miles Teller, phenomenal.
Okay.
Aaron Eckhart's in it. You know, I mean, they got some big names in this movie. I just seen a trailer for it. It's going to be awesome. Awesome.
All right, so I do want to ask you one last question, because you've gone through all of this, and I know, because we talked so much more about your work with children's charities, and there are people out there right now, there are children that are dealing with being bullied, and there are parents that are dealing with their children are being bullied. What advice would you give them?
You know what? I'd love to say join a boxing gym, but fighting's not the answer. The advice I would give a parent, if their kids are being bullied, is listen to them. Listen to them. Contact your schools. Most of your Massachusetts schools have zero tolerance for that stuff. You know, everybody should defend yourself against somebody that's bullying. And the sad part is about bullying is there's people that commit suicide from that. People get depressed. And the sad part, we've had a couple people in our town, there's people in every town that kids get bullied, they commit suicide, and that's, to me, that's just not right. You know, so, and the only advice I would do is tell them is just, you know what, keep an open eye and ear to everything, what goes around.
Thank you. All right, so what fight or flight situations have you been in, and how did you handle them? I would love to hear about it. Email me at katherine.cook@gmail.com. And whatever situation you're going through, if you're deciding how you want to handle it, whether it's time to sort of come inside yourself and figure it out or come out swinging, just know you got this.